welcome to my craft room. I'm Leo from inkymemories.co.uk, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in South Wales. And today on this simple Saturday stamping video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. My very first video that I put together for this channel was me going through the Simply Citrus all-inclusive card kit and showing you how to assemble all of the cards in the kit. So today what I'm going to be doing is using the stamp set and some of the leftover supplies from the kit. I'm going to be making another card to show you how you can continue using products that you do get in these kits to continue crafting. Now if you're interested in this kit, and why wouldn't you be, it is utterly gorgeous. This is in the annual catalogue on page 7 and it is a really nice kit. Like I said, it is all inclusive, so it comes with everything that you need to make these 5 cards that you can see on the front here, as well as a cute storage box as well. So as this is a simple Saturday stamping video, I do have all of my pieces pre-cut and ready to go. So what I have here is a card base. This is in Pear Pizzazz today. And as always, this is half a sheet of A4. So this measures 14.85 centimetres by 21, and I've scored that up the middle at 10.5. I have a Whisper White envelope. I have a mat for the inside of the card, and this is 13.35 centimetres by 9. I have a scrap piece of Whisper White, as long as it's big enough to stamp a couple of these pieces on, that's big enough. I have a small piece of Pear Pizzazz here. This is 1.9 centimetres wide and as long as you want it to be. Again, it's another scrap, and we're going to trim that down. And then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. Now this is from the In Colour stack, so the 2020 to 2022 In Colour stack that you can see here. This is in the Bumblebee colour, and I've chosen this one, the sort of spotty design for today's project. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some stamping done, and this is the stamp set that comes in the kit. So like I said, you've got a couple of different sentiments on here and then these lovely fruit pieces, and we're going to be using the sentiment Hello Sunshine along with the large lemon or lime, the slice and the leaves today. So I'm just going to pop these onto a couple of clear blocks so they're ready for us to use. I'm going to be stamping today in Memento ink, so the Tuxedo Black, and this is dye-based ink. We're going to be doing a little bit of colouring with some stamping blends, so obviously we want to make sure that we're not affecting the ink that we're stamping in. Always remember the rule of opposites when you are doing any colouring. If you're using alcohol-based colouring pens, you want to make sure you're using a dye or water-based ink to stamp with, and vice versa. So I'm going to punch my little sentiment strip here using the Everyday Banners Pick a Punch and just feed that into there. I'm using the sort of banner end for that one. And I'm going to take my sentiment, so the lovely Hello Sunshine sentiment, and ink that up in the Memento ink. Now the Memento ink pad is a little bit firmer than our classic stamping pads, so you do need to press a little harder to get this inked up nicely. Not too hard, you don't need to really slam your stamp into the ink pad, but just make sure you do press firmly to get some good ink coverage on there. And I want to stamp my sentiment so that it is more towards the side that we have cut with the punch, that sort of banner end. There we go. I'm going to bring in then my sort of scrap piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to stamp some of these lovely fruit and leaf images. So the whole citrus fruit first of all, and then the slice. And then I'm going to stamp 3 of the leaves as well. Like so. And then as always, I'm going to make sure that I don't leave my envelope naked. So I'm going to take the whole citrus fruit stamp, whether it's a lemon or a lime, I'm not quite sure, one or the other. I'm going to just stamp that down into the corner of my envelope and then add a little set of leaves to that as well. Like so. And then the same on my inner mat as well. So I'll add the lemon down in the corner. And then pop some leaves on top. Okay, so that's all of the stamping that we need to do. So I'm going to pop the lid back onto my memento and get that out of the way. I'll pop these to one side and bring in this sheet, and we're going to be doing a little bit of colouring. So I have here some stamping blends. So I've picked the Daffodil Delight and Granny Apple Green, and I also have the Colour Lifter as well. So I'm going to start first of all with the light Daffodil Delight pen. And I'm going to add some colour into the sort of segments of the slice here. Just very light. Don't need a huge amount of colour in this. Just like so. And then I'm going to give the entire citrus sort of whole fruit a base of this light Daffodil Delight. When I'm working with blends, and I'm going to be doing some blending of different sort of colours, or the two different strengths of the same colour, I like to make sure that first of all I've laid down a base of the lighter colour, and then I can blend over the top of it. So there is our base in the light colour. I'm then going to take the darker Daffodil Delight marker and start adding in a little bit of shading, so around the edges of my little lemon here, and towards the end. I'm going to pick up slightly around here, as if the fruit is laying on its side, and this part therefore is slightly more in shadow. And then going back to my light pen, I'm going to blend those together. So just sort of nice circular motion over the edge where the dark and light colour meet. You just want to blend those lines together and add a little bit more shading with that. And with the light pen you can also add another layer of colour, so if you wanted to add a little bit more over the surface of your lemon to really sort of accent the highlighted areas, then you can absolutely do that too. And then if you really want to make the highlights pop, this is where you can bring in your colour lifter and just lift some of the colour in some of those areas. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on my leaves, but first I just need to add a little bit more yellow to my lemon slice here. So using the dark Daffodil Delight pen, I'm just going to add some dark yellow around the edge for the lemon skin, just like so. And then, like I said, I'm going to now blend my leaves. I'm going to do this in exactly the same way as I did the lemon. I'm going to start with the light Granny Apple Green and colour the leaves in full, and then add some shading, some sort of darker areas and highlights to really bring them to life. So there are our coloured pieces all ready to go, and now I'm simply going to fussy cut these, just using a pair of scissors. And I find the easiest way to do this is to separate each piece from the base first of all. It just then makes it a little bit easier to manipulate each shape as I'm cutting them out. When you are doing fussy cutting, you want to be moving the paper and not the scissors. So don't try and turn the scissors around the corner, move the paper so you can get around all of the edges and cut out your designs. Okay, so there are my pieces all nicely cut out. As you can see, I have left the leaves attached to each other, just with a tiny little bit of white at the base of each of them. Now, top tip here, if you find that some of your pieces sort of have those white sort of edges, no matter how good you are at fussy cutting, sometimes you don't quite get all the way around the edges of the outline. I'm taking here a stamping white marker, just in basic black, and you can literally just run that around the edge of your cut image. It helps to sort of take away that white edge and just makes your piece look a little bit more finished. Okay, there we go. That's all of my pieces just coloured around the edge so they don't have that white sort of harsh line anymore. So I'm going to pop the blends out of the way. We are done with those, and bring back in my little sentiment piece here and start assembling the card. So let us get the base folded along that score line, and we'll burnish that score with a bone folder. I'm going to glue in my inner mat, so just using liquid glue for this. I'm just going to run a thin bead of glue around the edge of that white cardstock, and then a little bit across the middle, and pop that into place inside my card. And because I'm using the liquid glue, I do have a few seconds just to wiggle that around if it doesn't quite hit in the right place first time. And then I'll do exactly the same to add my DSP to the front of my card. So again, just a thin bead of glue around the edge and then across the middle. Line that up onto your card front. Wiggle it into place if it's not quite right, and then press it down. And with this little piece for the sentiment, we want it to be towards the bottom and towards the right hand side, and I want it to go right to the edge of the card. So I'm going to just sort of roughly measure this to the point that I'm happy with where it is, and then taking a pair of scissors, I'm just going to run right up the edge of my card to snip that off. And I'm going to be using the twine. Now this actually comes in the kit, in the Simply Citrus card kit. And all I'm going to do is wrap this around my little sentiment strip 3 times, and then tie myself a bow on the top. There we go, a nice little bow on there. I'll just trim that end. So there is our sentiment all ready to go on the front of our card. I'm going to pop this on using some dimensionals. If I can find them back here, there we go. So just a couple along here, just enough to support the strip, and I want a little bit on the end, so I'm just going to cut some of these little edge pieces here and pop that on this end as well, and peel the backs off the dimensionals. There we go. And then line this back up on the front of the card, making sure that it does hit the edge of the card as we trimmed it earlier. That's it. So there is our sentiment on the front, and then it's time to arrange our pieces. So with the sort of lemon slice, I'm just going to add some liquid glue onto the back of this, just in the centre. And then pop that one down first of all. Give that a few seconds to grab. I'm going to take my sort of whole lemon and pop one dimensional into the middle on the back. And I want to lay this slightly over that little fruit slice that I've just put down, and add an angle so we've got our sort of shadow at the bottom and our highlight at the top, as if it was resting. And then I'm going to tuck the leaves in around the edge. So with the leaves, I'm just going to pop a dot of glue where the sort of two leaves join at the bottom, and then a few dots down each leaf to anchor it in place. And because I've popped this up on a dimensional, I can tuck the leaf underneath the little lemon, just hold it in place for a moment to let that bond. And do the same with the next one, so just a little dot at the bottom, and then a couple of dots over the individual leaves as well, just to hold them nicely in place. And this one I'm going to put towards the top up here. And just hold it for a few seconds while that bonds. And then the same with the last one, so a little dot where the leaves meet, and then a couple down each leaf. And this time I'm just going to hold up the edge of the slice and pop the leaf underneath. Because we only put glue in the middle, I've got enough sort of leverage to lift that up and pull it off the base. So our card is pretty much done. It's just one more little thing that I want to add to this, and I've got here the frosted and clear epoxy droplets, and these are really lovely. They are super simple. You get 2 sheets in the pack. And as they sound, one of them is frosted and one of them is clear. They're just these little epoxy droplets, basically. Nice simple embellishment, and would go with anything since they don't have a colour of their own. I'm going to use the clear version today and just pop 3 of these around my card. Just to finish it off. And that is my finished card. So using elements from the Simply Citrus all-inclusive card kit and some of the supplies that come with the kit as well. If you still had some of the sequins that come in the kit, unfortunately I used all of mine, but if you still had some of those left, you could absolutely use those instead of the clear droplets that I've put on there. But that is our finished card, all ready to send. So thank you for joining me in my craft room today. I do hope that you have enjoyed this project. If you have, please do give the video a like, let me know that you've enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the channel. I post 2 videos a week, from simple Saturday projects like this to more in-depth workshop Wednesdays, along with useful hints and tips on Tuesdays as well. If you have any questions or comments about the products that I've used or the project that I've put together today, or anything to do with Stampin' Up, pop them into the comments box below and I'd be really happy to help you there. All of the products that I've used today are available through my store with Stampin' Up, and I'll leave a link in the description box below directly to that in case you want to grab any of these products and give this a go yourself. I'll also leave a link in the description box to the web form on my website where you can request a copy of Stampin' Up's current physical catalogues. If you are based in the UK and don't currently have a demonstrator, I'd be happy to get those out into the post for you to have a look at. Thank you again for joining me in my craft room today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.